Well, good morning, YouTube here. If you're watching this as a rerun, you can skip ahead about 20 minutes before we get started here. Just getting on early to get all the audio set up, make sure all the radio stations can connect here to me and all that good stuff. So if you're a regular watcher, you kind of understand what's going on there. So giddy up. Wayne Muth is going to be my guest here today and discussing just a little bit of everything. So, I mean, open lines here. You're going to have to contact my cell phone if you're going to do that and go from there. Morning, Waylon. Good to have you along here this morning, each Saturday morning here. Do any of your kids have youth tags, or is your kids older than that now? They all done with that? Oh, I forgot my Gatorade. I'll be right back. Back. Got his dough last week. Good deal. There's for some reason like a huge influx of youth hunters in my area this year. Of course, I'm in South Dakota here today, in the closet. So there you go. For all you that enjoy seeing that. Morning, Dave. Good to have you guys along here. Watching over in the eastern side of the country. Oh, there it is. Good deal. Cool. Morning, Karen. Good to have you on Mobridge side. Karen, are you going to take over like all the duties at the radio cluster now? Well, I got to give Mr. Muth a call here. North Dakota Mike, morning, Scott. I should be out with my son for Deer Youth, but I'm still stuck working. Glad I have a wife that hunts us. She took him out. That is really good. Yeah, well, having your wife or your spouse also hunt is huge. It is huge. Let's give old Wayno a call here. Make sure to get him hooked up.
Good morning.
Wayne Muth, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. How are you?
You know, I'm doing pretty good. We're live on YouTube, by the way, right now. Doing our
I just pulled
pre-show.
I just pulled you up. Either you renovated your office or you're still in South Dakota.
We came back down. I got some work on our condo here we got to do.
Oh, okay.
Gonna switch out some pickiness of some people, right? The light switches are that ivory yellow looking stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And outlets. So we're switching. I'm putting different outlets, different switches, some dimmers, and then of course the outlets now we're gonna redo with all the USB C3s, all that kind of jigamajol, because we bought this as a commercial thing so we can rent out.
Sure.
And if we do ever rent it for during the bike rally or whatever, everybody wants those amenities.
Sure.
You know, so that, and we're switching out some toilets and all kinds of fun stuff. And got out of the country during the last weekend of youth deer season because it just got too much traffic. So,
I would imagine down there. Yeah, it's not changed since last year.
No.
I guess.
No. So yeah, we'll talk about that here a little bit. Waylon says he sent me a picture of his kid got tagged out last week already. Nice dough.
That's good.
Yep.
That's good. Yeah. I heard Jesse's daughter got one too, I believe.
Yeah. He got one night. They went out the first night and got it. So, Scott, good morning on YouTube. Eric, good morning as well. Yeah, everybody messaging me, texting me. All right. They're ready for the morning here.
Well, good.
That one I'm not going to open because the audio goes on to my YouTube channel, and I'm not sure if that's going to be a clean one or not. All these technologies, somebody says, it's hard to get a hold of you. And it's like,
Yeah.
did you realize how many ways there is to get a hold of my, whether it's cell phone? I have, let's see, I got the Facebook account, Messenger account, Instagram, got the TikTok thing. You can do Snapchat, Twitter. I have all that stuff, even though I'm not very active on many of those fronts. But I have email and text messaging. So there's a good chance you can get in touch with me.
Yeah. I have a ranching friend that all he has is his phone. He doesn't text. He doesn't have internet.
Yeah.
And he's in a place where you can't get a hold of him unless he's on top of the hill. So I will call some of his friends and say, hey, when you're down there, tell him to call me.
Well, that's how it is sometimes, right? I mean, that's just some people enjoy being kind of off the grid.
Yeah, exactly.
Eric says, why are you in the closet 2 weeks in a row? Yeah. I just told my wife, I said, we need to have some type of backdrop here, like a banner or something, so it doesn't look like I'm like it's somewhat of a studio, I guess. But
yeah, there you go.
Yeah. What do you do? All right. Well, let's see what else is going on in.
So is your place there in Deadwood?
Lead.
Oh, in Lead.
I'm in
Okay.
Lead, yeah.
All right.
Deadwood is not. It's just it's not as laid back,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we didn't really. I don't gamble. I mean, well, I ranch, so I guess that's the same damn thing. But I don't gamble.
So-
if we go down into town or something like that to the 10, and I like live music. I do like that, but we have. Lead is kind of more of that small town, kind of a local feel instead of just bachelorette parties every place you look,
Sure.
And we kind of like it, and we got a lot newer place where in Deadwood,
Mhm.
everything is on a really steep hill and super expensive.
Well, isn't Lead full of steep hills though too?
It's steep, but it's they actually where our condo is a cluster of them, and it's actually
nice.
in a pretty decent area where we're right on Main Street. We can walk right across the street is a little small brewery. Go a couple blocks down, you got little restaurant bars, and we got Ace Hardware. We got kind of a little bit of everything. Plus, it's really close to the hills and the trails, and my wife likes to run on the trails and go
Sure.
biking on the trails, so she's right by a trailhead.
There's one of the little bars down there. I think it's just down from one of the breweries. Can't remember the name. They're 2-for-1 Friday nights with if you buy a meal or something. Is that still going on?
That I don't know. There's a couple. There's Silver Star Bar, and then there's Greenfield. And I usually go to the Greenfield because the guy that owns that used to ride bulls with Benny Paulson back in the day. So I kind of have more to talk about with him than I do any place else.
Oh, okay. Because I think it's a Silver Star because my daughter-in-law's parents have a place in Spearfish, and we'll cruise down there and take advantage of the 2-for-1s and have some fun. And yeah,
the bad thing is, like, I just got a text from Mayor of Mobridge here. He says Louis is closed, and Louis was a burger joint, a little bit more. It was more than a burger joint, but was known for its burgers and everything. That's halfway between Lead and the turnoff to go to Terry Peak, and it was the place everybody went to, and they just got tired and couldn't find help, and they closed up. And that's too bad.
And we were down there last year, the year before. We took a tour through the mine up there, and which is really, really interesting. And I hit a golf ball into the hole. So.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's our little getaway here.
It's a great little place.
Well, we bought it as an income property, and then we still haven't rented it out because, well, Dixie's like, no, it's my place. So I'm like, fair enough. I ain't gonna.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, these Airbnbs are pretty popular.
That's
Pretty
all of them.
popular.
What this is, there's probably
Yeah,
maybe
sure.
5 or 6 of us that live in this cluster. The rest are all Airbnbs.
Sure.
But yeah, stations countdown here for you. I'll have a 6:58:30 countdown coming up your way here. 6:58:30. So you can see what the lag time is here on the internet service down here is not quite the fastest as it is back home. All right, 6:58:30, 6:58:30 on Mark. All right, so that should
So-
be good. What's that?
I cannot watch you on YouTube because
Uh-oh.
if I watch your mouth and your voice and what you're saying, it screws me up.
Hold on here, Wayne. Hold on, Wayne. I lost audio with you. There. Are you back?
Yeah, I'm back. No,
Something happened there. I
There we
lost
go.
audio with you.
I was saying I can't watch your mouth and they listen at the same time because it's really there's that lag that is really there and noticeable.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you'll have days like that. But, it's still better than sometimes using the old-fashioned phone lines like I used to.
Yeah. And like we've talked about the old dial-ups and
Yeah. Oh, did I lose you again?
no, I'm here.
Oh,
I got
okay.
it.
Okay. I was like,
Okay.
scared the heck out of me. Like, what the heck's going on with my audio here? Let's see here. Coming up on 7 o'clock here shortly, or 8 your guys' time. I don't know why they switched some of the counties on the western side. South Dakota still does the river. If you're on one side of the river, it's mountain time. The other side's central. Deal with it.
Yeah.
So much easier.
Sounds like it's close to what North Dakota does, I guess. But
I don't know. There's so many counties across the western side that I think there's not many left that are still on mountain time.
mhm.
Bowman, Slope County, Adams and Stark and Golden Valley and Billings. The rest, I think, all switched to central time.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's from Garrison, from Lake Sakakawea on over, really.
Yeah. Mercer, McLean County all switched. Morton
Mhm.
County. I think Grant
Yep.
County. I'm not sure. Grant County switched or not, but I'm guessing so.
Yeah, I had a friend text me a picture this morning of a bull elk that he called in for a friend. Nice 6-pointer.
Nice.
Probably did. Yeah.
Nice deal. Yeah. Yeah. Got another phone call of somebody asking for a little bit of help on elk.
Mm-hmm.
Found out it's actually a neighbor of mine. I said, heck yeah.
I've had a couple on trail cameras, but not as much as even in the past. I'm not sure if they're pushed out or there's a lot more cattle in our area. It seems like. I don't
I
know.
really don't see on my place. I don't see the cattle really affecting them as much as I see just traffic. If there's people busting and really, really bow hunting the federal land, the elk are definitely moved on to the private land. But right now, most of them are up in the neighbor's cornfield. They love corn. Holy cow. And they're tearing my bales apart. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Wow.
I got to get that hay hauled off of there soon because they're really damaging.
It's surprising that they'll hit the hay this early. They'd be just in the
Well,
fields yet.
Most of them are hard horned. I mean, there's no velvet left on them at all.
Right.
So, I mean, that's one thing. But I think they're just rutting so much right now that they just go up there and they like pushing things around, And of course, they get net wrapped stuck in their antlers, and then people think that there's a big drop tine elk out there, Oh, you should see this one. I got a picture. I'm like, that's my net wrap. So yeah. Well, 3 minutes to showtime, man. 3 minutes to showtime.
Okay, sounds good.
Hopefully, you got your thinking cap on here this morning.
I'll try. I don't know. Lately, it's been overtaxed a little bit, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to set up sound for a lady who wrote a book. She originally from the Bowman area, lives in Bismarck, Mandan, and We don't see the same political views, that's for sure, but she asked for help, and when somebody asks for help, you help them, right?
Sure.
So I
Sure.
gotta. All my equipment is sitting at the theater in Bowman, North Dakota, right now. So she gotta.
Oh.
Hopefully, everything went well for her.
You mentioned one of the guys saying that his wife hunts too.
Yeah,
That'd be a good thing for you to do, is bring on one of these ladies that hunts and has had some really good success, and get their thought processes sometimes.
I would like to. Yeah, if you know of anybody that'd be willing to do an hour show, that sometimes gets to be a little bit tough. Even recording them,
Yeah.
like when that young lady for when she got her elk.
Right.
I had to interview her for 7 minutes to get 3 minutes worth of content.
Sure.
I did. Not to be mean, but sometimes,
Mhm.
then you get the complete opposite end. Like I tried to interview that Tiffany Lukowski years ago, and I'll never do that
Right.
again.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
They've got their agendas.
Yes,
and
they do.
Yeah. And so
Maybe John Armin's daughter, get her back on
you could try that.
now that she moved back. I know she's not a spouse yet, but
Hmm.
we'll see. But yeah, if you know of anybody, like your wife or somebody. Hold on. Son of a gun. Every once in a while, are you there? Okay, I'm losing the audio with you here a little bit. I got some issues going. I got to fix in a minute and a half here. Stand by. There you are.
Okay,
So,
I'm here. Yeah.
So if that happens, I'll try to cover it as best I can until I'm not sure what the heck's going on there.
Okay, yeah, I'm just
It must
sitting
be.
here. I'm
Yeah.
not moving.
No, it's
I
not
use
on you.
my-
It's definitely on my end over
Okay.
here. So
Okay. No, like I was saying, if
That I don't know.
if I'd ever convinced my wife to do it, she would not hold back, because she stands up to her opinion and thoughts.
yeah, which is good. All right, Wayne.
Yeah, which is good.
I'm going to
Okay.
turn you down here. We got 30 seconds to go. Stand by. Here, stations 7:05:30 on mark. 30 seconds. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Scott Bachmeyer with you here again this Saturday morning. Beautiful morning, a lot cooler than it has been the rest of the last few Saturdays, that's for sure. So the cool season means fall hunting seasons are upon us, and there are a lot of them that not only opening today, there's a lot of things closing tomorrow. So we'll talk about that here a little bit. My guest this hour is Wayne Muth out here in the Mandan area. Wayne, how you doing this morning?
I'm good, Scott. How are you doing?
I'm really well. I'm reporting from
That's
Lead.
good.
I'm in Lead, South Dakota. It's 2 Saturdays in a row. I'm doing a little work down in this area. But explain, the last time I had you on the program, somebody messaged me and said, what's your credentials for talking about being professional? So let's just hammer that out of the way right away.
Sure. I'm a excuse me. I'm a Pope and Young measurer for various measuring organizations, and I do a lot of research for the questions that are asked to me. A lot of guys will come in and they'll say, why is this non-typical? What happens here? What's this caused from? So I've done a lot of research on that. I did a lot of outdoor writing for some national magazines. We ran a website, John Armin, Jason Wright, and Kurt Schrato and I. We ran Fishing Buddy Outdoors for quite some time, and I broke off on my own after they went into the video piece of it. We just started getting into doing all the research, and I talked to biologists from all over the United States, from Georgia and Alabama, and what they're experiencing with EHD and CWD, from Arizona and the mule deer side of it, all that stuff. So a lot of research I do on the side. I got a lot of research papers that I review. Work with a biologist from North Dakota as well for aging our deer. So try to keep up with everything.
Yeah, and you used to write articles for some pretty big magazines too.
Yes, I did.
So that's the background. So let's get into discussion. First off, a few events going on here today. It's in South Dakota. It's opening pheasant youth season today, and it's also their opening of the duck season here. And in the North Dakota side, it's waterfowl opener. So, and also tomorrow is the end of the youth deer season in North Dakota. Also, the end of, I think, archery for moose and elk and all that good stuff, and antelope. So, some seasons starting, some are closing, and let's talk about the youth season. Last week, I had John Arman on, and we were discussing youth hunting, and he was talking about it should be during the regular season. When did North and South Dakota start having separate? And even in Montana, I mean, Montana, they take out a lot of advertising on the radio to push youth hunting in Montana, and it's surprising what their budget is for a radio station. So that's pretty cool that they do that. But when did we start with the youth season? I growing up, I never remember having a youth season, Wayne. I mean, I was out there with the adults, man.
Yes, exactly. Well, I think they started it probably in the 80s and 90s, somewhere around there. Because I remember my boys were able to do it, and we took advantage of that, of course. Yeah, it's something that I'm not sure if it's something that I care for. I would agree with John. I think that they should do it during the regular season, if especially if you're going to give them buck tags. Doe tags are maybe that's something that we can have early on for the real young kids, but still, yeah, I don't think the advantage of doing it is giving them the early season. First of all, some of the kids that are out there because of their parents are just pushing them. I had a father once that he said, "Hey, Wayne, can you come score this deer for me?" So I went and scored the deer for his son. Dad was out there all excited about things, and the kid was inside playing video games. So
No.
That's what happens. So
yeah, and I guess I'm kind of torn between it because I don't have kids. So I'm not sure if having a separate youth season is good or bad. Does it keep these kids interested in hunting when they don't have to compete? Like you look at the opening of rifle season in some of the federal areas around my neck of the woods, Wayne, it is orange as far as you can see. I mean, it is just hunted out hard. And is that kind of a down, and the kids look at that and say, well, this is no fun, or does it make them actually think, well, we have to be better, we have to be a little bit more strategic when we go out hunting?
I think it's good for them to get out there and do a little work for that. And when I was young, when I went out with my dad and his friends, I mean, they were all there trying to help you get it, and you really felt a part of that hunting group. You really felt like you were important there, and they all were doing it, not just your father or your mentor that's out there. So I think that's it. And then when you get something, it just means so much more.
Yeah.
I think on that side.
Yeah. I still remember my first deer, man. How about you?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah.
I was with two of my cousins and my dad, and we were actually shot a whitetail doe in the Badlands.
Mine was my dad says, I want you to go check some fence for me. Walk down this draw here, and I was like, okay. And I ended up spot and stalking a mule deer. Very, very little mule deer, but it was kind of a neat thing for me because that was my first spot and stalk. And maybe that's why I still like the spot and stalk stuff so much here. I mean, because that was my first experience with it. But
and we talked about in the past the number of deer that we're seeing, and we'll get back to it a little bit maybe with that little mule deer that you're talking about.
Well, we're going to definitely hit on what we're seeing for deer numbers on the other side of this break here. But until we get to the break, did you know that per capita, South Dakota has the most hunters in the nation?
Really?
Yeah. I was just looking, I was Googling some information this morning, and this comes from the Fish and Wildlife Service's 2020 is the last time they have stats updating on this. But across the entire nation, weighing over 15.1 million hunters, which was down by 2 million hunters in 2020. And
Really?
South Dakota had the most hunters per capita. Texas had the most hunters, which with over 1.1 million. So, I mean, we're looking at spending over $27.1 billion in the economy that year. Now, 2022 stats are not quite there yet. So, they have to wait and accumulate everything from this year and how many tags and the whole works. But it's kind of surprising when you see that. And it's so that's like 25% of South Dakota's population is out hunting, which I thought was a great stat to see. But then you talk to some people and they're like, there's too many hunters out here. Which way is it?
Yeah. That's a tough one. You look at that. To keep our laws like they are, to keep our game and fish department going, you need the hunters, you need the guys out there buying tags and supporting that through the Pittman-Robertson Act and it's the Fishing Act as well. And you also need it for these organizations that lobby for us. And I mentioned before the North Dakota Bowhunters Association. We need bowhunters out there. So you need those numbers for these organizations so that they can keep our seasons out there and keep them liberal. But yet, the Game and Fish Department's got to manage it correctly so that it doesn't get so overpopulated in certain areas.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother talk we'll hit on the other side of the break here coming up here. Wayne Muth is my guest here as we're talking outdoors. If you want to message us, you can send a text, question, comments, anything, 701-425-6651. I'm at a remote studio today, so I can't call the regular studio line, but you can find me on YouTube, message me that way, any of my social media accounts. We'll get that information out here, and we'll discuss it. We'll have more on the other side of the break here in Dakota Prairie Outdoors. Good to have you along here this morning on a Saturday morning across North and South Dakota, and 5 of the best radio stations in the area. Back after this.
Did you know that Dakota Community Bank and Trust was recently named North Dakota's best small bank in Newsweek's America's Best Banks 2021? According to Newsweek, from over 2,500 FDIC-insured institutions, we are amongst the nation's top banks to serve our customers' needs in today's challenging times, ranking number 1 in North Dakota. We invite you to come bank with us. Stop in today to your nearest Dakota Community Bank and Trust and see what being America's best small bank is all about.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
Man,
Help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, you can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton. Welcome back, everybody. The Saturday edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors right here, right now. And when I said before the break across all the great stations, we're talking like KGFX in Pierre and Fort Pierre, KOLY in Mobridge, South Dakota. Big thanks to K-Fire 550, been with me all the way through my career here in the outdoor side of things in Bismarck, Mandan, KLTC in Minot, and KCJB in Minot, and KLTC in Dickinson. Good to have you guys along. Wayne Muth is my guest. Welcome back, Wayne. How are you?
I'm good.
All right.
Good.
So hopefully you got a little shot of coffee in there during the break. You and I were discussing a few things. We want to talk about, first and foremost, seeing the deer. We'll get to that. Some of the comments that came in during the break. North Dakota Mike says here on YouTube, I take my time to teach my kids to look at the deer. He says he has a rule. I don't shoot a doe with fawns. I'm glad for that self-imposed rule this year. Last weekend, I saw 5 fawns that still had spots. And I'm with Mike on this. So I'm not always a horn hunter, and especially when it comes to pronghorn antelope hunting, because a lot of the small groups that I have in my neck of the woods only have one buck with all the does. So what I did last year, that was the only thing that we had numbers. I didn't do any deer hunting last year because of EHD. But to find a doe, a dried up doe that does not have any fawns on it, is just as much of an exciting hunt for me. And I think that's something you should teach those kids. I mean, Mike's right on this.
Right. Now with our deer populations dropping, another philosophy out there, and there's a study that's been done. British Columbia did it in one of their little provinces or areas, is to harvest fawns instead of does.
Whoa, why is that?
Well, if you think about it, it's the concept is the same as ranching, that most of these fawns that are born will not, 50% of the fawns that are born will not survive for their first year. They're either going to die early on, or during the falls, the predators, the weather, 50% are going to die. So that population is already coming off the landscape, especially after they are weaned, which is 70 days. So they're on their own. The predators are getting them. Now, if we target those as a harvestable animal, now we're taking the focus off the bucks. We're allowing more bucks to remain. You're creating a better natural buck-doe ratio at that point. Your mature does which are the ones just like your mature cows that you're keeping every year, are going to produce more fawns, larger, healthier, and they also produce more male fawns when they're healthier. They have better milk production. They know the survival rates. They know where to go to find food, shelter. This is a study that was done, and they've increased their populations faster by doing this because you're taking the fawns off the landscape, letting those does produce more. Same as a rancher does, really, if you think about it.
I don't know. I have so many questions on this, though. All right,
Let's go.
I've never heard this. Okay, so 50% of the fawns look to be don't make it after the first year,
Right.
and you start targeting them. You're going to take 75% more, 75% of them. You're taking a larger. How do you expect to keep some genetics in? I mean, if you're maybe that fawn is a small, a male that has those genetics that you want to keep in your herd or something. I mean, that's my first question. So,
Well, and you think about this fawn. If you do the opposite, you shoot the doe, you're shooting a doe that's going to produce probably twins or triplets. The first year fawn normally does not have twins or triplets. She'll have a single. So you're keeping that doe on there, and you're multiplying your herd greater because you're keeping a better doe on there. Their survival rate, you're allowing that doe to the knowledge of the food and shelter down the road. So the philosophy is there. It keeps more bucks on the landscape as well. You take some of the focus off. I mean, you're not harvesting. That's not the only thing you're doing. You're still harvesting does and bucks, but you're targeting more fawns with this.
interesting. And my second question is, what about the amount of meat you get off of it? I mean, there's not much on a fawn.
No, there's
Yeah.
not. But if you think about it, when you are looking at these fawns, and it was North Dakota Mike, I think you mentioned, they still had some spots. The ones we're seeing have no spots nowadays. By the time gun season comes around, you're hard pressed to be able to find, a fawn with spots. But you can see that they're considerably smaller, but not that much smaller than a doe.
Yeah.
So sometimes you don't even know you're shooting a fawn. I've done that in the past.
That's true. That's true. So let me go here. I'll never shoot a doe with a fawn. That's even more unsatisfactory than shooting a spike or a dink buck. That's one target,
Right.
one message that came in. Another one says, what is it here? Oh, that old dry doe that I was talking about, trying to find that old dry doe, is probably one of the smartest deer out there. And I agree. That lead doe, definitely the smartest one out there. There's no doubt.
Yeah. And in British Columbia, they did this with elk, not deer, and they increased that elk population
Is that right?
considerably. Yeah,
Interesting.
over a 9-year period. Yeah,
That's very interesting. I understand the concept of it. I just it's new, right? I mean, we haven't heard of it before. Why, right?
the concept is proven. However, selling that to your hunters out there is another thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ethical, and we look at that and we go, oh God, I can't shoot these fawns, and I agree, it's really hard. And you take your tag that you don't get very often and you use it on a fawn. Do you want to do that? I mean, there's a lot of questions with that, and it'd be a little harder sell.
Oh, it'd be nearly impossible. It's hard enough to sell somebody to take a doe the way it is. That's why there's so many leftover doe tags in the States, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
and I've told people, unless if you're going to shoot a buck for meat, then don't get a buck tag. Shoot a doe. Leave the bucks in the landscape. But
yeah. Well,
to each their own.
The same guy here, Mike, says that I think that the coyotes and other predators are taking enough of the yearly fawn crop. That would be interesting to see from unit to unit, or maybe let's just say east versus western part of the state. It would be interesting to see if there could ever be a study done on how many. I mean, it's nearly impossible to figure that out, I think. But with the increased amount of mountain lions on the western side of the state, which, hey, to break away really quick here, Wayne, was it Thursday night? We came down here, and there's a place in Central City between Deadwood and Lead. There's a little place called Lumpy's Bar and Grill. Stopped in there for a drink, and the bartender came running in. He's like, "Hey, has anybody ever heard of mountain lion cubs screaming for their mom?" And like the whole bar cleared out, right, and went outside, and right behind that bar up on the hillside, the mountain lion cubs are just screaming to beat heck, man. So I mean,
Really?
they're mountain
Oh,
lions,
goodness.
and we're in mountain lion country here in Lawrence County. So,
Yeah.
but you look at the
Sure.
predator population. I think it'd be interesting to see how many predators actually do take. I think it'd be kind of a neat little study. I don't know how you do
Yeah.
it, but it'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
it would be. But if you anytime you're walking and you see some coyote scat, look in there, and I'll bet you there's deer hair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bet. Again, that and finally seeing some more cottontails and jackrabbits in the country. That's the first time I've seen those in a long time. There's no doubt about that. So, but yeah, we're coming up against our next break here, Wayne.
Okay.
It will definitely get to a couple more text messages. If you want to send me questions, comments here about this or anything else outdoors, feel free. 701-425-6651 is my cell phone number to text me. You can also do it on YouTube on the live chat that we're doing right now, and go from there. He said, Waylon Turnus, before we go, I was proud of my boy. He said he passed on a doe with her fawn. The one he shot was dry and had a 4x4 buck chasing her. So he said he's pretty proud of his boy by having a little bit, little self-control over there. And Darren Munn says, I haven't applied for a buck tag in 4 years, just does for meat. Good for you, Darren. And Mike says, I'd be proud of Waylon too. Yeah.
Yeah. And Waylon, that's just reflects on the parent that's there and teaching them good, sound ethics, and
you better believe it.
How to hunt. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Wayne, stay with Mazan here. Coming up your way here in the next break, we're going to have just anything you want to talk about. We'll cover that. Plus some more statistics across the North and South Dakota territory and where we're seeing the influx of hunters from. And it's kind of interesting because one of the stats that we were discussing off air showing that it's actually increasing quite substantially across the entire nation. So we'll have that coming up your way. That's all coming up on Dakota Prairie Doors. This is a Saturday edition. Good to have you along. We'll be back right after these messages.
As an independent insurance agency, Dakota Community Insurance partners with leading insurance companies to offer products that are designed around you and your farm insurance needs. As a leader in farm and ranch insurance, we can help you to minimize the risk to you and your operation, including farm equipment, livestock, farm buildings, and crops. Stop into your local branch to visit with our insurance agent or visit DakotaCommunityBank.com. You can rely on us when nature strikes. Dakota Community Insurance.
At Dakota Community Bank and Trust, that's what we do.
MoPro Guide Service, the best on Lake Oahe. Brent and his staff will give you the most enjoyable fishing experience, always having the latest in electronics, gear, and the most comfortable Lund boat on the water. Fish with somebody who lives in Mobridge, South Dakota, the heart of Lake Oahe. If you need a place to stay, the Morest Motel has newly updated rooms with free internet, a family-owned and operated business. Go to OaheWalleyes.com. That's OAHE Walleyes.com for the best fishing experience Lake Oahe has to offer.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com. Rockin' 7W has all the panels you need. Freestanding panels, windbreak panels, feeder panels, and the original protester panel. If you don't know what that is, it's a sort panel that makes sorting calves from a cow a breeze. You can do it in a fraction of time with just one person on foot or horseback. You can custom order sizes to fit your current operation, or you can start from scratch. Rockin' 7W also does trailer repair on any size trailers, mobile welding, and custom cattle hauling. Call Justin at Rockin' 7W at 701-206-1030. That's 701-206-1030. Rockin' 7W, the farmer and rancher's go-to guy. Western Frontier Insurance. Agents that understand you, your needs, and the community. Whether you're looking for coverage on your farm, ranch, home, or auto, You can trust that Western Frontier Insurance will find you a combination of price and coverage that works for you. No fancy jingles, no talking boxes or animals, just good neighbors helping to keep you covered. Western Frontier Insurance. Offices in Hazen, Washburn, and Wilton.
Did you know that Dakota Community Bank and Trust was recently named North Dakota's best small bank in Newsweek's America's Best Banks 2021? According to Newsweek, from over 2,500 FDIC insured institutions, we are amongst the nation's top banks to serve our customers' needs in today's challenging times, ranking number 1 in North Dakota. We invite you to come bank with us. Stop in today to your nearest Dakota Community Bank and Trust and see what being America's best small bank is all about.
It's every American's right to bear arms. At Mandan Sporting Goods, we're here to help you support your Second Amendment rights, which reads, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Whether you're looking for a pistol for personal defense or collector gun, we have the staff to help you. We also have the area's largest inventory of ammo and reloading supplies.
Mandan Sporting Goods, the area's local gun and ammo specialists.
Pifer's Western team of Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby would like to invite you to sit down and talk about the future of land planning. Whether you're looking at selling, buying, or options to hand it down to the next generation, Andy and Jim will lay out all of the options for you. It's a great time to buy or sell, and with interest rates to make it profitable. Pifer's Western team, Andy Murdoch and Jim Sabby. For more information or land updates, go to pifers.com.
On that road, but don't you worry, one day I'll settle down. And when that time comes, I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around. I hope you're still around.
Welcome back, everybody. Saturday morning edition of Dakota Prairie Outdoors. I'm Scott Bachmeyer, your host here. Good to be along with you again here as we continue the weekend talking outdoors. And Wayne Muth is with me here this morning. Wayne, we have a new topic of discussion, but I want to make sure we get through all the messages here. One of the messages that came in here earlier on, here it is, was discussing about how many hunters we have in certain areas. And you and I were discussing about that. And it says, put me in the group that says there's too many hunters out there. I would also say one tag per person and pick your hunting weapon. Now, that was an argument, I would say 10 years ago, that we had, that there was rumor the Game and Fish was going to move to a one tag system. And boy, did that get a lot of opposition, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, your bow hunting organizations really fought back on that, and I agree. I think our population our deer population management can withstand having both, but I think it just has to be managed correctly with the Game and Fish Department, not having them all in one area, not overkilling because you've got all the deer and all the bow hunters going to the Badlands. And we spoke of some of the units out there getting 2 and 4 times the number of bow hunters out there than other units because it's the Badlands. So yeah. I think you have to manage that, then you can manage those populations.
Now, interesting you're talking about bow hunting because according to the national statistics from 2020 from the Fish and Wildlife Services, it says 32% of all hunters in the nation were bow hunters, representing about 3.5 million hunters. And is bow hunting becoming a bigger thing than rifle hunters right now? Is that yeah, I mean, but you have to look at this as all hunting stats. And we're talking hunting stats. It's upland game, waterfowl, turkey hunting, all kinds of things. So I've seen an increase in bow hunters in the crowds that I have been hanging out with, I guess. How about you?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of new hunters that are new bow hunters coming out there. But in that turnabout, there's also those older hunters that don't do as much. I've seen kind of that fall off on top. A lot of friends of mine that are older that don't do as much bow hunting. They still will buy the tag and may not may not shoot one. So
Right.
this is tag purchases, I would think.
Correct.
It's
This-
not a success rate. So
This is
have
all
to
on
look at
tag
that.
purchases. And I still go back to this too. I know there are groups, anti-hunting groups in North and South Dakota that put in for deer tags. And it's a lottery system sometimes, right? So I mean, they're going to get them. There's a good chance they're going to get them once in a while, and then they don't use them. So that, I mean, and people argue with me. They're like, Scott, you're such a conspiracy theorist. I'm like, I actually know an organization that does this. They have people
Yep, and
in Montana, North and South Dakota that do this. So,
Yep.
But
and they will try to get those tags. You bet.
all right.
And in North Dakota, it's cheap. I mean, if they're a resident, it's very inexpensive. So
Very. Message comes in here. It says, I'm out. Hold on. I'm out with my cousin looking for the first white-tailed doe. We haven't seen a one. And he says, good thing Game and Fish increased the numbers in my unit for that. So that we have some upset people. There's no doubt, Wayne, especially in the western side of the state when they increased, when we had such a kill-off of EHD. And why? Why do you think there's an increase when there's known to be so many dead deer out there?
yeah, and I think it depends on which unit he's hunting in. If it's a unit like 3F2, I mean, they increase those numbers of tags down there, but there again, I believe they're increasing those tags to try to deplete the population because of the CWD aspect, and that's a whole nother conversation. And I agree that the population just seems to be down, at least what I'm seeing out there. I've hunted, bow hunted 6 days so far, then antelope hunted 1 day, and I have not seen near the numbers of deer that I have seen in the past, last year and years before. And it's the same areas, it's the same drainages. So yeah, there is definitely a fallback on those numbers. Why they're increasing the numbers is beyond me, I guess.
Yeah. Message comes in, says, I'm constantly hearing people complain that they didn't get drawn for a buck tag. Well, there's a lot of people out there who kill a buck with a bow, and then they kill a buck with a rifle tag. And that's one legit reason we need a one tag system. Furthermore, I'd be more than happy to throw my bow in the fire and never bow hunt another day if I got a rifle tag. And one more thing, if it does go to a one tag system, bow hunting season needs to be shortened considerably. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't know if you have a comment back on that or not. I'm kind of throwing it in your court.
I tell you what.
I'll start.
I'll
start with.
I love to get. Go ahead.
I'm going to start this because the question first off is this for everybody, including landowners? Because I really enjoy venison. I mean, that's I raise my own beef, and we eat beef and venison. We do not buy any meat, any red meat outside of what we do on our place. And between archery and rifle, I think having both tags and a gratis tag, right? I think only 1 year I have taken both my archery and my rifle tag. I think 1 year. It's either one or the other. And so I'm selfish and I want both tags, Jamie. Darn it. I'm selfish and I'm going to admit that. How about you, Wayne?
Yeah. And, right now, I don't know why anybody would want to push for that. Because, first of all, you have an opportunity yourself to go bow hunt and you could draw a gun tag. And I don't believe that the bow hunting licenses out there that they're giving are impacting the number of gun tags that they're giving. So take advantage of it, because if you take it away, you will never get it back. Take advantage of that.
That's
Go
true.
bow hunting. And you don't always have to shoot a buck every year. I don't. I mean, I kind of target certain deer. I want to shoot a certain level of buck, and I lower my standards. I did a few years ago. We were antelope hunting, and I mentioned it before. I pulled a sneak on a really nice big wide 3x3, but I had two of my sons and my son's fiance with me, and I got them all with me within practical shooting range and took it. And it was really a fun experience. But so you don't always have to shoot one, but be careful what we wish for, I would say.
Yeah.
Because they take it away, you're not going to get it back, and then you're going to be stuck, and you won't be getting your buck tag with a gun, and then you won't be able to bow hunt either, probably.
Yeah.
So
He says, he responded back. He says, landowners should get a gratis tag for every quarter of the land that they own. And if they want to sell it, they should be able to do that too. Every single bow hunter he knows hunts for antlers and not for meat. So, and okay. So the first comment, landowners every quarter. I don't know about every quarter because there's some very big landowners.
Yeah.
Would take a lot of tags, but to be able to, if I want to take my gratis tag and offer it to sell, to maybe put towards water projects or fence projects or spraying for weeds or some improvements that I can do on my property, that would be kind of a nice thing to do. That would be kind of nice. But on the other side, every single bow hunter he knows hunts for antlers. Everyone that I know also is going for antlers. I don't know of any of the ones that I know that have taken any does. I guess that have come out to my country. They're always after antlers, which I guess if you come out to the Badlands and going after mule deer, that's what you're going after, right?
Right. Yeah. Some of the friends of mine will get some of these extra tags, these doe tags, and they just bow hunt them because they just love bow hunting. And they do that, which is great. Yeah. Most are looking for that headgear out there. There's no doubt. So here's another thought. So they're taking away baiting in some of these units. So by taking away baiting, that decreases does that decrease your success rate with bow hunting?
Absolutely.
And if that does decrease that rate of success for bow hunting, does that say that the Game and Fish Department should give out more gun tags to keep their management statistics in line, that you want that 70% success rate?
Good question there. That's a good insight on that. So if they're not allowing baiting, the percentage we should see the percentage go down, and they want to hit a certain percentage.
Right. Yeah. So maybe there should be more gun tags.
Yeah.
And then Jesse or Jamie can get his gun tag every year.
Right. And the other guy said, I asked this question about why they increased the number of tags in my unit, and they said, I asked them if they're trying just to kill them off, and they say that the Game and Fish came back and said ranchers are seeing a lot. All right, I guess maybe it depends on where you're at, because every single friend of mine is a rancher in my country. None of them are seeing the numbers of deer. I mean, they're not a single one of them. So.
So you look at this as well. We're talking about deer right here. I was antelope hunting, and I had a tribal tag, went down into the South Dakota side. But I tell you what, I had a heck of a time finding antelope. So what's happening there as well? I mean, is it hunting pressure that's moving these animals out, as well as the diseases that are impacting it, or are there other factors? Because it sure seems like over the last couple of years, we've had a lot more hunters out there. And is it taking its toll and changing the habits of these deer? And, I killed 3 bucks in this one drainage, antelope bucks. And I had to go back into there and hike back in and find a little herd. And I shot a buck out of the group, but didn't see much more than that. Probably, I think, 6 other antelope total. So, not what you're used to seeing. So there's something else is impacting this as well.
Yeah. Well, I got to get caught up on some of the YouTube comments out here, because I wasn't looking at that for quite some time here. But and there's some people adding in here. Jesse says his first 3 bull kills were does. I know, because I was with you. And I'm talking when people come out to the country, I'm, not from the area, not from, personal friends or anything, just people I see coming through. Waylon says whitetails are definitely down at their place in 3F2, and deer population is way down, and yes, shorten the bow season from the garden corn robber. He says that. Let's see here. I'll catch up on the rest. Oh, one guy says he was up in Harding County antelope hunting. He says there's all kinds of antelope up that way. And
really?
Yeah. So
that's good.
I don't see as many, on the drive down on Thursday. I definitely don't see the numbers, but there's still good groups out there. The one thing I have noticed, though, Wayne, on Highway 85 is just what I do looking from the pickup when I'm driving is I'm seeing a lot more permanent hunting shacks, whether they're on water holes or up on the hillsides or anything. I'm starting to see a lot more of those. And are people moving to that? Are they just setting up blinds and doing more of the weight game instead of the spot and stock, or the pushing the draws out? I mean, the old school days of having somebody up on point and then 3 people pushing a draw, and
right. I see it too, and I see it in the Badlands. More guys are doing that, and I don't have, and that's really kind of a neat idea. It's a good idea actually, and get more people are hunting from blinds, and it's kind of the same concept. And I think what happens is and they're probably seeing it just like we are. If there's less deer in the area, the last thing you want to do is chase them to the neighbors or chase them out. So by having these shacks and having these blinds that you're hunting without really disturbing their normal patterns is probably a good idea. They keep them in your area, help you manage. If you want to manage them better, you can surely do that. And we talk about these populations. The coyote population is extremely up as far as I'm concerned, because I see so many coyotes out there. Yesterday, I shot my antelope down south, and I had to go back down there because I lost my rangefinder along the way. So I went back down to look for it. And I went to the spot. It was 2 weeks ago I shot it. Went to the spot where the carcass was because I quartered it out, and I had half the hide there where I left it. I could not find anything. I found like a dozen tufts of hair. I couldn't find a bone. I couldn't find the hide. I don't know what had drug it so far away, because I searched that whole area within a 100-yard radius, and I don't know where it went. Yeah. Simple. I don't know. The coyotes are crazy down there.
The free food. Tim Ney says, I farm on the Lemoore, Logan County near Cullum, and he's seen some deer, but definitely not the large numbers. And I'm hearing that from everybody. And that's one thing I'd like to know is, what are you seeing, for numbers? But coyote populations, I agree. They go from up and down. And right now it seems to me that I'm hearing them a lot more as it gets cooler out. It seems like they're moving a little bit now that the nights have cooled off and the days are getting a little bit cooler here. But another text, from my experience, when you sit in a hunting shack, you see way more deer than you do walking around or driving around. On top of that, you're not scaring them off. So
you bet.
Yeah. Here's my problem with hunt. I want a couple of these, but they're like $2,500 to $3,000 for these really nice ones that I want to put out.
Yeah.
I can't afford that, man.
Exactly. It's a lot of money to be sitting out in your field for, 9 months out of the year that you're using it.
A friend of mine here to south of Scranton says they have oodles of deer down there. Now, here's my concept on this, and I'll have him on the show one of these days too. They got hit with EHD. It must have been 4 or 5 years ago. And I got to say, I mean, some of the racks that he was pulling out of the cornfields and everything, Wayne, there's a little water hole in the middle of his cornfield, is just, they were some impressive whitetail deer. Is it now he's got oodles of them? Last year, I don't think he had a single one from EHD. Can they get self-immune? Can they get immunity due to this? Because I think that's what his herd is.
It does, and they do that. And the biologists that I've talked to out of Georgia and Alabama have indicated that same thing. They don't have the big die-offs that we do every year because they're have it more of on a regular basis, so that's a smaller portion of the herd, but they build up that antibodies and those immunities to it so that, it's not as prevalent the next year. And it works on a 7-year cycle. You target last year and look at 7 years down the road, and if we have a drought, there's a good chance of it really happening again, because our deer don't get it every year, and then all of a sudden it impacts them and they're hit dramatically. So, they do have that immunity to them. And even the mule deer bucks, we talked about the mule deer. I think we said that we think they get it. They don't get it as much, I don't believe, and what I've understood and what I've heard. But with the testosterone being impacted and the breeding, because we see that the velvet is on these bucks really late in the year, so that testosterone has not raised up to a level so that they can lose their velvet. So does that impact the breeding aspect of those, and are more does going open? that they wouldn't have fawns this year, so we're not seeing as many. Is that maybe some of the impact? I don't know.
That could
be a
definitely
question.
be, yeah.
Question for a biologist. You know?
Yeah. Well, and yeah, good. That's definitely topics that it would be nice to get like a third party biologist, wouldn't it?
Right. It would
And
be.
maybe that's
Yeah.
something I need to research out here and try to find, especially when I get back to my home studio. Anyway, Wayne,
Yeah.
60
Mhm.
seconds left on the program. On the brighter side of things, there's people out there that say they love venison. They enjoy it and look for it each and every year, like myself. And you know, we're still have good, healthy hunting population. There's people out there hunting. South Dakota is the highest per capita, and I think as long as we have hunters, we're gonna have some of these kids. We have the opportunity to teach these young kids that hunting is a necessity in and around the United States of America.
Right. And I think it's great that people are chiming in here and letting us know, because it shows that they're concerned about their sport that they love to do.
Yep.
I mean, that's great. I mean, and that's what we need. We need this dialogue. We need this back and forth, and making sure that everybody understands that we can do the best for our sport going forward. I really think it's good. And there's a lot of nice bucks that are shot this year. I know that there's going to be several coming in that I'll be scoring the next, well, once they get that 60-day drying period done. But yeah, it's great that people are really keeping involved, because that's what we need to do to keep consistent going forward with our sport.
Absolutely. Wayne, thank you so much for coming on the program. And I tell you, we need to get together and have a beverage, because you need to be in the studio so we can take calls and you can actually be in the studio at the same time.
Yeah, we can do that.
That we need that. So you make sure your lovely wife is going to come on the radio program and give her 2 cents in as well. We need that as well.
Okay.
So
We can do that.
Yeah, thanks, Wayne
All right.
Booth. Thank you so much. Have yourself a good weekend. I'm Scott Bachmeyer. Make sure to catch my daily program on every one of these radio stations. Plus, you can find it at DakotaPrairieOutdoors.com. And if you have items of interest you'd like on the show, feel free to send them to me. Find me on social media. Have yourself a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Good luck on the last weekend or in the opening of pheasant season. Eat some meat. Drink some milk. Have a great day. All right, Wayne, that's a wrap, buddy.
Hey, good program. Lots of input.
Let me double check my YouTube side here just in case. Okay, Darren, I would like to see youth season start in the middle or later part of October. Carrie Roller says, my daughter and I were down at our farm in 3E1 yesterday, 6 hours, not one deer to be found. Typically we see 20 to 40. Last 3 years have been terrible. Let's see. Mr. Mayor says it really does not matter what the population is. If you hunt with a 7 MMO8, you will be successful, Confucius say. Waylon says, good job, guys. Thanks. Great show and bank. Thank you so much. Everybody appreciate you guys
great.
joining in and having fun. That's a lot of stuff on the YouTube side and text messages going on here today. So that's good.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it's no, these guys should go out and start shooting some fawns.
Good luck selling that to anybody, but I
Man.
understand where it's going. I get it, and I see the studies, and that's one of the things you can do a study, and here's probably my concept thinking that way is maybe how the Game and Fish's concept is on the baiting, because they see it one way and I see it a different way. And the same thing about taking fawns. I'm like, well, I see it this way, but maybe, maybe the science is here and it actually does work. So,
exactly. Yeah. It's interesting, because these type of ideas that are out there are great ideas, but to get your hunters out there to do that, because like Jamie said, when you don't get a tag every year, is that what you want to use your tag on as a fawn? I mean, maybe they have got to have specific fawn tags. Or I
don't know. I
don't know.
Maybe youth season should be a fawn tag, or I don't know. That's tough too.
If you do the youth season fawn and back it off till late October, like Darren said, that would be better, because then you're not shooting the spotted fawns probably.
Exactly. And here's another thing is Disney has ruined our concept of hunting.
Oh yeah.
Because what does everybody say? Oh, you shot Bambi, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody
I hate
says
that
that
show.
Exactly. It's a terrible show. And so Carrie says, I missed part of the show. What is the reasoning for shooting fawns? Okay, explain that again.
Okay.
Carrie,
All right.
we're still live on YouTube, so we'll explain it to you, Carrie.
Okay. So the concept behind it, and the study was done in British Columbia. They did it with elk. And the concept was that most fawns will die before their first year of life, mostly due to the winter time and predation. Okay. So if you harvest more fawns, your adult does will remain on the landscape. You're going to have a greater survival due to experience of those adult does, those lead does, as some people call them. Okay, they know where to find the food and shelter. Those mature does are just kind of like beef cattle. They produce, more fawns. They are more offspring, larger, more healthier. They have better milk production, the better milk quality, and then also you're leaving more bucks on the landscape. So you have better buck-doe ratio. And another thing they found is it narrows that breeding window. When you narrow that breeding window, that means your birth window is narrower, and you have more fawns being born at the same time. So if one coyote is chasing a fawn and kills it, the other ones are going to grow by the time he's going to eat that one and chase another one. So they're not all the little ones being born every week, and there's weak ones every couple of days being born that are easy killing for the coyotes. So a lot of concept there. It's interesting, hard sell. Yeah, probably, but
Yeah,
something to think about.
it is something to think about. Now, I didn't say this during the show here, but you were talking about testosterone, not seeing it in the mule deer. Probably that's why we have not probably the hardest horns and the velvet sticking on a little bit. You know what you need to do? It's just like, so this happened. I haven't, for some reason, at this Lumpy's Bar and Grill on Thursday night. I'm sitting there discussing some things with the bartender, who's kind of comes across as kind of a hippie, but he had a knife, he had a shirt that said all the right things, but he still came across as kind of a hippie. And right before we were leaving, he's like, "Hey, I want to challenge you to arm wrestling." And I'm like, no, I don't want to arm wrestle, And he just kept pestering and pestering. And finally said, "All right, screw you, man. All right, let's go." And he said, "We got to do it down here." I'm like, "All right." And I don't know how strong the dude is, right? I mean, he could be whatever. So I went at it, man. I slammed him. I think I almost broke his damn arm off. Right?
Yeah.
And guess what happened? The table behind with these big biker dudes, guess what happened? They want to challenge, take the winner on, right? I'm like, oh shit. I'm already in it, Wayne, right? The testosterone's starting to flow now. It's there. And I'm like, all right, you son of a bitch, let's go. I had done just enough whiskey to go. And so the first guy I beat, and he's like, "Well, you pulled your hand out." I said, "Well, I pulled my hand out because I have to put yours on the table. And if I don't pull my hand out, he's like," I'm like, "Okay, let's do it again." So I beat him the second time even worse. And that pissed him off, So I'm sitting there riding a testosterone high, but now I'm nursing like my elbow is not feeling the greatest. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm too old to be doing this stuff. But the testosterone was awesome. It was good. Not saying that I came back and bred any does, but what I'm saying is,
well, you lost your velvet anyway.
My velvet is gone in one night, man. Holy moly. So
goodness. See what testosterone will do to you?
It is. It's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right, man. I better get to work here. I got to do some work on the place.
All right.
See ya.
Sounds good.
You bet. See you.
All right. Good show. All
Yeah,
right.
thanks,
Yep,
man.
bye-bye.
Bye. YouTube, thank you guys for paying attention here and following along. I appreciate it. Keep hitting that subscribe and let your friends know about it. It helps me out when I do these remote ones as well. Have yourself a good day. See ya.